and it let out this blood-curdling, guttural scream.
On the side of the road, he sees a deer carcass and something eating on it, which he thought was a bear. And as the lights hit it, it stood up. And, like, this gives me chills talking about it. He said it stood up and it had the face of a man.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bigfoot Live. It's Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Bigfoot Live with the Bigfoots of America podcast show. I'm your host, Bryan Sawyers, coming at you. I'm always excited about doing podcast shows, but extremely excited about this one. This is the Bigfoot Live Christmas special. And today I have multiple eyewitnesses as guests on the show to have an open panel discussion. All right, with that said, we're going to bring all of them in just a moment. We're going to recap some stuff. We want to kind of throw out there what we're going to be doing in 2026. So the prime motivation for the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series and the Bigfoots of America podcast show are two town hall meetings, one in Traverse City and one in Monroe, Michigan. We might do a third out in Grand Rapids, but we're still working on that idea. So that's coming in 2026. Also, I will be at multiple, I guess, venues, you could say, speaking, doing a live podcast show. So we'll keep you posted on that schedule of 2026. Now, in the past week, I want to talk about a couple of things before we bring everybody in. I've had some weird stuff going on at the house. So if you're a Bigfooter and you've been a Bigfooter for a while now, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. And this is the crazy stuff. Let's just cut right to it. This is the crazy stuff. Whenever I go out into the field, I want to try to find tangible evidence. I want to try footprints, tree structures. I want to hear howls. Now, in my outings, I've heard all of these, seen it all. I've caught that Bigfoot sneaking up behind me on the thermal. We may have recently caught one in Grand Rapids last month. Walking away from the thermal camera, I still have to go over that footage. I know you're thinking at home, oh, you're crazy. That's just how busy we've been. So I love the tangible evidence. Yesterday, I went out to the location where I feel I've had multiple encounters and multiple, I guess you'd say, experiences. And I've also found footprints out there, okay? And one of the footprints, the main footprint that we found out there, now I have found what I would call baby squatch footprints as well. I don't have those pics with me, but the main footprint I want to talk about right now is this one right here. This happened August 3rd of 2026 at the same location, just in various places. I found the Squatch footprints. I have had multiple encounters. Now, Angie Elizabeth, one of our eyewitnesses here at Bigfoots of Michigan, talked about how the Sasquatch would leave Y sticks in her front yard. It's a sign of friendship when they were coming and going and all that kind of stuff. Well, I've got 3 of these back there, and these have all been left for me outside of my tent. I wake up, it's outside of my tent. I walk down a trail, and then a minute later, I walk back, and it's in the middle of the trail. So the one we're coming around, and you could see where it had been like drug out of the river and then laid on the riverbed right by where this footprint was found. So I went out there yesterday to this particular location. I'm no longer giving out locations. Something happened. Either somebody followed me or something happened crazy. So I'll leave it at that. I'm no longer giving out locations. I want that for the protection of the Sasquatch. But today, got out there and once again, got a footprint right there. You can see the toes. I released the video just a couple hours ago on our YouTube channel and on my Facebook profile and some of our groups. So I actually found what I believe are two footprints, but this was the more prominent one with the toes up at the top. So check out that video. But what's really weird is it's almost like they know I'm coming. And that's the weird part. That's the crazy part I want to talk about today with our panel of Bigfoot eyewitnesses. So, Merry Christmas, everyone out there. Let's start bringing in our guests, and we're going to have a discussion about the possible interdimensional aspects of Sasquatch right here at Bigfoot Live, the Christmas special. So we're adding Kevin True. We're from Colorado, Derek Grimm from Idaho, Sherry Radu from Traverse City, Brenda Goodwin from Kalamazoo County, Haley Benedict from Grand Rapids, and Audrey Gallus from, I believe, Harrison Township.
That's right.
Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Awesome. All of you, I think, by now have coffee cups. If you don't, I got to send you one. I just sent out Audrey's yesterday. Haley, do you have cups or anything?
I grabbed one at the town hall meeting.
Good. All right. So I kind of set it up, and it's, you think I'd be used to it by now, but the aspect is it's almost like they know I'm coming. I have been really spoiled. Like, I just don't walk out in the woods. Where I went today and yesterday, sightings and encounters had happened before. Today's location I had not been at before. Credible eyewitness, a credible history of sightings. So I get out there, and I mean, it didn't take long, and I'm just like, what is going on? And now I'll say a couple more things, and then I'm going to start talking to each one of you individually. All in the month of December, my son finally heard what I was gone. It was about 3 a.m. and he heard. All right, now let me set this up correctly. My son rarely comes out of his room. He is a gamer. If you were to come to my house, you wouldn't even know he's in there. You'd be there for a couple of days, and all of a sudden he'd come walking out of the room to the bathroom or something. You'd be like, "Oh, you have a son?" Yeah. So, but he was awake, of course. I think I was at work, yeah, because I do the midnight shift, and I've got security cameras all around. But he heard a voice. And it said, and I brought this up to the NCI guys. I'm part of the North Carolina investigators as well. And what it said was, "You." And he said it sounded more like a female voice. Now, everybody's asleep in my neighborhood, and the houses aren't closed, so it couldn't have been anyone. And when he said it, it reminded me of an encounter that Haley and I had, and the way he described it, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this a female Sasquatch from, let's say, Area A? So that happened. That was the first week of December. Then I'm going to bring Audrey back in. Then, just a couple of days ago, I'm standing in the living room with my girlfriend. It's dark. Now, mind you, all the stuff, and now, just to preface this, we've had bangings on our camper. All the standard Sasquatch activity, except finding foot. Well, no, the banging was in the summer, so wouldn't have found it on the grass. But then, so just a couple of days ago, my girlfriend's just wrapping up her work, and I'm standing in the living room, and we hear a growl. Now, when I say a growl, it is not a scary growl and an intimidating growl. No, it's the same growl I heard at my window when I had the mind speak happening to me here at the house and all of that. So just a ton of activity here. Y'all know that. Y'all know I've seen a fairy flying in front of my face in my house. Crazy stuff. With that said, we're going to go around the horn. For me, I like to find tangible evidence before I totally buy into something, but I cannot deny all this activity. So now we're going to start with Kevin True. All right, we're going to let you speak first. Kevin, with everything I've just said, what are your thoughts on Bigfoot and Sasquatch about being interdimensional?
I would have to say they are, you know, especially with my experience, seeing the red eyes and everything like that. They're definitely not from this world. They can't be. There's a reason why they're here, in my opinion. There's a reason why I saw it and the rest of us. And that's why I always say seeing is believing. There's a lot of small-minded people that don't believe in it. But the evidence there, and they have to be I can't even say the word. It's just even thinking about it, it still brings chills to me. I haven't had my nightmares in quite a while, but there's times that I feel like they can be. And the last time I ever had one was in the hospital about a year ago. And that's when all the doctors came in and everything while I was doing the surgery on my legs. So yeah, everybody has their own feelings on Bigfoot, but I know they're real. And the reason why I say that is because I've witnessed them. I've got my evidence, and you can't deny what I have and what I've seen. I mean, there's not too many people that can say that they have a picture of it carrying a live porcupine. And I do have a lot of people finally coming to me and wanting to finally open up. And it's because I'm very well known at the Bigfoot sticker store in Manitou Springs. They know about the Bigfoots of America podcast show. More and more people are getting tuned into it, they tell me. And they say, "It's Kevin, the reason why we start watching this is because we know what happened to you. We know that you were investigated by the military, the Division of Wildlife. So how can you be wrong when you have the evidence that you have?" And I have a lot of friends who watch all of you. So you guys are being all well known here in Colorado.
Very cool. Very cool. Kevin True had a very traumatic experience. If you get a chance, go to our website, bigfootsofmichigan.com. You can see his write-up, or you can go to Bigfoots of America on YouTube and see his episode. Kevin, I wanted to tell you a little story that's going to help you. Part of the reason I went to the location that I went to today and immediately found this footprint is I have a story, and I had to go see this location, and it's still there on this one particular farm. And I'll give you the generalities. So Cass City, Michigan area. Now, I've always talked about the Bigfoot Triangle, the Cass River, the Black River. But so I was near the Cass River this time, near Cass City, Michigan. And I visited a location where this camper was still there. And in years past, this camper housed a whole group of chickens. It's where the farmer kept his chickens at. Well, one particular night, this farmer was. Let me get this straight. The farmer was actually a truck driver, and so he spent a lot of times away from home. Well, his family was home this one particular night, and what we call the Bigfoot Mafia showed up. Multiple Sasquatch, and you made me think of this, Kevin, because of the red eyes. Multiple
Right.
Sasquatch with self-illuminating red eyes. Now, they didn't hurt the people, but a couple of them stood outside the windows of the house and made sure that the homeowners weren't coming out to stop them, while the other Sasquatches walked to the camper where all the chickens were housed at, now guarding that camper. So think of an old RV camper that hooks to the back of your pickup truck. guarding
Right.
that camper was an Alaskan Malamute. This episode is also, I think, in Sasquatch Chronicles, but they came and that Malamute got scared and ran underneath that camper. Well, they came, grabbed a hold of the chain, the Sasquatch did. We all know that Bigfoot do not like dogs. Well, they ended up tearing that Alaskan Malamute apart, and they figured one of the Sasquatch, one of the smaller ones, climbed up underneath that camper and ripped open parts. They had the door. They had blocked the homeowners had blocked the main door and then made kind of like a hatch where the chickens could come in and out of underneath the camper. Well, one of the Sasquatch got up in there and made the opening bigger, and they cleared out all those chickens and left with all the chickens. They said the next morning, the dog Malamute was in pieces and chicken feathers everywhere, and every single one of them chickens was gone. But so Kevin, so you feel a little bit better. Yeah, they do that sometimes. That Bigfoot mafia, that intimidating red eyes. Now, I've heard that there's different hues of eyes as well, where they're normally yellow, and that'd be a more passive hue. And then if they're more inquisitive or concerned. If you check out my episode with Aaron Spencer, we picked up some orange eyes. And that's kind of an in-between psychological, emotional state. But then I've heard if they're angry or very aggressive in an aggressive nature, they'll have the red eyes. So that's another story here in Michigan, and part of the reason I went out there today and right near there found, a couple of these footprints. One wasn't as nice as this one, but yeah, so you feel a little bit better, Kevin, that there are those types of stories. All right, Kevin, thank you so much. We're going to move on to next. Who's next? Let's go to Derek Grimm. Are you there, Derek?
I'm here.
All right, fantastic, buddy. I know you're more of the physical being of Sasquatch, your encounters, and you can recap those if you want. You believe more in the physical side of things. Go ahead.
I do, and even the interdimensional thing. I mean, I've even thought about it because I tell myself is like, well, where the hell do they go? I mean, they're like there 1 minute and they're gone the next minute. It has crossed my mind, but yeah, the physical, I guess, scientific point of view, I go for it. I mean, like Kevin said, seeing is believing, but when you hold something in your hand or you cast something that nothing else in the world can make except something that you don't really even know what it really even is. That's the thing. And then when you do see them, it's they kind of see you. They got to see you way before you see them, or it has me in the past, anyways. But yeah, the interdimensional. There's really no evidence of it, I guess. So that's where I'm kind of hanging up at it. I mean, no one sees. I mean, there's probably been people who say they dropped out of UFOs and everything else, but as far as around here, I guess they're on the ground. It seems like around 2000, turn of the century, there's a lot of activity. That's when I really got thrown into it pretty good, and it kind of seemed weird. I could go out in the woods in the Blue Mountains in Southeast Washington, and man, within a day, I could actually find a set of prints, and it's kind of weird. You wouldn't think that something mythical or something that doesn't supposed to exist, it could be that easy to see or find. I think it's just with the location. I'll reiterate that the Blue Mountains. There's been more professors with PhDs in anthropology have visited those places, that place itself, anywhere else in the world. So, and then they also have like the Mill Creek Wilderness. That's kind of a wilderness within a wilderness. They have signs that $50,000 or 5 years in prison if you get caught behind it, and it gets patrolled 365 days a year. And it's a 29,000 acre watershed, which is pretty big. If they're not, I mean, Walla Walla, the town of Walla Walla does collect their water off the surface, but there's houses and stuff out of that refuge that are right along the river or creek. And I don't really think they're concerned about who could put what in the water. And all the really, I mean, I kind of get goosebumps thinking about it. Just they don't want people in there. They do allow a couple special tags for elk hunting and whatnot, but it's not like you and your party can go in there. It's if you draw the tag, you better be the only one that's found in there. So I kind of want to be snuck in there myself, but I have yet to do that. So I don't know that I don't know. Something
I'll
tells
tell
me
ya.
there's something weird going on, but there hasn't been like go ahead.
No, I tell you, what I love about knowing you, Derek, is your encounters. Definitely, the description of your encounters lean more of the Gigantopithecus route, where you have found the whole
Oh, yeah.
line of footprints in the snow, where the behavior of the Sasquatch coming up on your camp was more apish-like, so to speak, where they're intimidating you, shaking the trees, and all that kind of stuff. So, brother, I got nothing but
Yeah.
respect for you.
Ditto.
Yeah. If and I know that's why I really pursued it, because I've been in the woods like my whole life, and I've been other places that you really think if there's God, why doesn't he come here? Because some of these places really need to be blessed. But as far as actively on a trail, actively seeing the prints come out of the snow, making ice prints into the mud, and you're right behind them, and you see where another one comes out of the woods, they meet, they sit in the snow. I mean, huge body prints. I mean, they're just not like a human body print. They're like a big kind of Gigantopithecus. I mean, if you get a giant, if you get a gorilla, there's a few pictures of black and white of our great ancestors hunting the silverback. They have them propped up, and these are the same exact molds that I've seen within the snow. The hair goes up on your head, on your back, on your arms, and you're only maybe you're hours behind them. And then you turn your camera and you just kind of scope the hillside, and you go home and view it. And yeah, there's one that sees you and he kind of ducks out. So that's on VHS. VHS is kind of getting a little bit harder to play. Mine actually broke, so it's kind of in the archives. But yeah, it's something out there that it really gets my attention, and I can step into an area and I can say, there's not a Bigfoot here. I feel comfortable with that. I get into some other areas where this is totally sassy, squatchy, and all sorts of stuff, and I don't know, maybe I have that sixth sense or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's there. It's real.
Well, I really believe, it's funny. Sometimes I'll lean this way, sometimes I'll lean that way, but I really believe now it's almost like they are everything in between, as in between complete biological and then others as interdimensional. Matthew Sexton, such a wonderful guy with multiple eyewitness encounters. I've been out with him. I found the physical evidence, but, he made a good point. Like, hey, he goes, I totally, he had walked into a portal at one time, and he believed, no, I really, here's what he said. I really believe it's the alpha males that are the ones that may be able to conjure up the portals, so to speak. That's why they're the alphas. They've got, whether they've grown into their abilities, and maybe they have to do that through a certain amount of years, or it could be clan specific. It could be, it could be in their gene pool. What clans can be more interdimensional than others? But I truly believe that Hollywood has a leg up on this. I've talked about this multiple times on my show. The cloaking abilities of the movie Predator, all those, they're all based in some sort of reality. My recent thing is, I had heard that Steven Spielberg had been briefed by the CIA, and out of those two briefings came two movies, Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T. So, Derek, man, I appreciate everything you're doing. And yeah, if you stay firm until you learn otherwise. Hey, we're going to take a quick look at some of the people chiming in. They're all over the place on YouTube. Frank Middleton says the eyes I've seen have been an amber-like color. Okay, so that's Frank Middleton on the YouTube channel. Brian Russell says, hey, sorry I'm late. Good to see you. Hey, Brian Russell, I want you to know I wasn't too far from your location when I found those footprints today. I'm gonna leave it in the Cass City area. Hey, Enrique Ricardo Zambrambo says Merry Christmas to everybody. George Lunsford, author George Lunsford, a good friend of mine. Let's take a quick moment. I always talk about the people who have a big influence. If you're out there and you want to get a book, this Monsters of the World reference guide is amazing. This has helped me with my fairy encounters, understanding that there are multiple source types of Sasquatch, dogmen out there. He does such a great job of connecting all the historical evidence. You know, hey, those stories about the Minotaurs back in Greek mythology, those might be true. But George Lunsford has written 3 different books. Here's 2 of them, and he's got another one coming out. So check out George Lunsford on Amazon. Buy some of his books. All right. Tom Rudder is watching. Cito Chuck is watching. My goodness, man. Dennis Dean. Hey, Dennis, we got to talk, man. You gave me that lowdown of Cass City. I was out there today, and hopefully you saw that picture. I'll pull it up one more time that I found. Well, I found multiple footprints. I just felt that this was the best one with the most toe definition. That was in the Cass City area, Dennis. So thank you so much for chiming in. And all right, hold on. I don't want to get lost here on all this tech stuff. And Mud Sniper's in. Muck Sniper. All right. Howdy. No, Mud Sniper, you didn't miss it. We're on now. All right. So I think everything's still set. Haley Benedict, part of you is probably saying, oh my gosh, why did you invite me on this show today?
Well,
Little
probably because I've
background.
always wanted to be a part of something like this. When you ask
Right.
me if I'm a believer, it's like I was a believer before I was even born. Like
Fantastic.
all of the things, aliens, Bigfoot, aliens before it was proven that they are real. Like they're having Senate hearings about aliens. Like it is 100% everybody who's still saying you're crazy if you believe, they're crazy. But yeah, fairies, gnomes, all sprites, you name it. I mean, if the story of it has been around for a few hundred years at least, I believe it.
Awesome. What have you learned? So Haley is an actress friend of mine. We've been on multiple sets together here in Michigan. You know, she's an actress, I'm an actor. Between us, I don't know how many movies we've had. Haley, I have drug you along to the town hall meetings. You've been out to some locations. What are your thoughts about that interdimensional connection? Do you think it's possible?
So, yes, I do, because somebody said that they like walked through a portal, right? Which makes me think, okay, then that could definitely be that. But then part of me also thinks that they could just be really good, like cloaking. They could just be really good at hiding. And like anytime that I see like video of a Sasquatch, like the video is zoomed out and you're watching, like you're so close to your computer, like where is it? And then they zoom in and you're like, holy shit, I didn't see that. Because it looks like it's just a shadow, or it looks like it's like the wiggly part of a tree. And I think that they're just, I don't know. They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've taken you to 2 of the locations where I've had the most activity. At these 2 locations, multiple footprints, tree structures, howls. What I believe, we had an instance, Haley and I, where something stood in front of us but was invisible even to our thermal. Up to that point, I had caught the one sneaking up behind me. I thought, okay, you can always see a Sasquatch on thermal. But when Haley and it blew my mind, first of all, but then I kind of let it go until we had the encounter at my house just a few short weeks ago, which was so similar to Haley and mine's encounter. And I don't want to say it was letting us know it was there. And George Lunsford pointed something out. I believe this particular Sasquatch, if this is all real, is a female. And George Lunsford pointed out something, because when it came to the house, I wasn't there. My son was, and it heard my son. It said, you, like really weird, like. And George Lunsford made a neat observation. He's like, Brian, you've been out in the field. You've been to this particular Sasquatch's location. It's come to your house and realized that you had a son and was reacting as it listened to your son gaming or doing whatever.
So it's like an aha moment for the Sasquatch. Like,
Bingo.
you.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, you're first of all, you're in the house and you are Brian's son. Now, everybody at home's going, what's that got to do with anything? Well, it's got to do with this. Very rarely are you going to find a Sasquatch by itself. If it is, it's a young male, and we're going to talk to Audrey Gallus about that in a minute. But more than likely, they are with a family clan. Whether I believe they're part humanoid, who knows what these things are? I'm never going to claim I know everything. But as we compile all of these eyewitnesses together, we get a line on whether they may be part human, Gigantopithecus, are they part of the biblical narrative back in Genesis 6? All of that. And it really is, even though this is a serious subject and people like Kevin True had traumatic encounters, it's still and I don't mean this in a light way, it's a very entertaining subject. And so it's very serious, but yet entertaining because we're learning so many new things about it. So with that said, we're going to move on to Brenda Goodwin. Oh my gosh, Brenda Goodwin's got an episode coming out in our season 3, which I'm just starting to edit right now. And Brenda Goodwin lives on what I call the Michigan Skinwalker Ranch. So now I don't even have to ask this question I'm asking everybody. But Brenda, what are your thoughts on these things being interdimensional? Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe so. I've seen something odd out my living room window, and I think it was cloaked watching me. And there's the tracks that I found were not continuous, in the big pasture, in the big horse pasture. There was just the one big one right by the deer slide, the deer track slide.
Yep.
And then the others I found, they were just intermittent, and I was like, why is it one track in one area and then there's no more tracks? So that's curious.
Yeah, and then you've also had when you were younger, you had just the physical sighting of one, let alone your mother seeing what could have been a dog man.
Yeah.
But go ahead with some of those encounters.
I saw one that was what was it? 2003, 2004. Of course, then when I saw it, I just, I was trying to kind of write it off as, hopefully it was just passing through. But, as the years went on, I was getting subtle signals that, yeah, they're still here. And it's more than one, definitely. And then I found out that a guy, another neighbor a few miles away, has a clan there.
Oh, is that the pooping in the pond?
Yep.
The pooping in the
That's
pond
the guy.
clan?
And he's videoed, he had videos of orbs, and they might potentially travel in the orbs. I don't know. I've heard someone say that they saw like a Bigfoot form, the shape of one in the orb.
That kind of makes
really
sense.
Strange.
If it's just like its consciousness is going around, it might not be interdimensional. It might just be like its consciousness is still in this world, but it's just moving around without a body.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Because east of me is a major location where whenever they have the Sasquatch, they have the orbs on their game cameras.
Yeah, that's I don't know that's oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm
That's a really
blanking.
cool theory, though. That
Um,
I mean, it makes sense as a theory.
I don't know that that's a coincidence, that so many people are seeing orbs and Sasquatch
Yeah, the
together.
one.
I mean, they don't always. I didn't see any orbs. I haven't seen, I didn't see any during my sighting. I didn't see any down here.
Okay.
That doesn't mean there isn't any, but I just haven't seen any. But there has been, like last month, there was some unusual activity.
What
So
was it like?
my neighbor Bobby, the one with the one was tapping on his cabin window. You met
Oh
him.
my gosh, yeah.
So
You guys got to see when her episode comes out. It's fantastic. Go ahead, Brenda.
so a day or so after opening day of gun season here last month, he heard a shot out by his cabin, or like into the woods where I took you, where I had been camping when I heard the scream a few months before I actually saw what made the scream. He went back there to check it out and see if someone was back there hunting, or if someone had shot his cabin or something. He didn't know what was going on, so he went back there to his cabin to check it out, and he didn't see anyone around. He didn't hear any more gunshots, but just a little ways to the west,
Interesting.
he heard a grunt kind of growl. And it sounded pretty close, but he wasn't seeing anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like, I don't know what made that noise. And he said, but it didn't sound like it was happy. He said it was kind of a combination of grunt and growl.
Okay.
And I would imagine that, they wouldn't be too happy about gunfire in the area.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Even when you had the loud music playing, that's what set them off. And I'm learning more about that, Brenda. Loud
Well,
music.
I've always
Bells
played
have an
loud
historical
music when I
aspect.
camp, and that was the first time that I had heard that scream. When I was camping, like the year before, when I was camping back further in the block, closer to the hayfields, I was back there playing music all the time. I didn't notice anything unusual back there. Just, the normal sounds, like, hear coyotes howling and the deer moving around in the fields and grunting and stuff like that. But I didn't, hear anything unusual that, that I hadn't heard before. But so, yeah, I don't know if it was, the music, or if it just happened to be near where I was at and heard it. But I know when I saw one, we were in the garage playing music and being loud and stuff. But when I saw it, it didn't act aggressive. It just walked into the woods.
Right.
And I got a sense that it was just more curious than anything else.
Yeah, maybe came in, heard all the noise. The reason I held this up is I got this. My mother in North Carolina my mother and my sister live not too far from the B.O.A forest, which is in this like mountain range of North Carolina. And that is where one of the famous accounts where an eyewitness, multiple eyewitnesses, it was a man, his father and his son saw two Sasquatch approach their tent. Then the Sasquatch walked away, and then suddenly, just as they got out of sight, this bright light occurred, and the bright light moved towards their tent, and they were orbs. And inside one of the orbs in the B.O.A forest, they could see a face. And the grandfather had seen it because he focused on one of the orbs, and he could see a face of what he described as a Native American type Sasquatch. So
Yeah,
there
that's the
is,
kind of thing that I've been hearing too. You know, that they can see the form or the shape of them in the orbs. And with the neighbor that videoed some of the orbs, you know, I just can't help but wonder if, you know, if he looked into the video a little more, if he, you know, could see some shapes in there. But and then also last month, before it had snowed, I went out to the hayfield because there were some round bales still out there. It's a different story, but I was tagging some because some of them were first cutting, some of them were second. So I went out to tag some of the second cutting ones, and on my way back there, I was driving back there, and I believe I was hawk stalked again.
oh,
As I was driving back there, the hawk went flying across in front of my truck and landed in a tree just off to the side of the 2-track that I take back there. And then
okay.
when I got up to that tree it was at, it flew straight to the hayfields. And it was back there at the hayfields when I got there. It was like knew where I was going. And it flew to a tree to the south of the field and stayed there, and I, you know, it was like calling.
Okay.
And kept calling at me the whole time I was walking around the field and tagging those bales. And I'm like, just again, you know, hawks
What?
with the hawks watching me. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is about the hawks watching me.
everybody at home, what Brenda is alluding to is there are Native American tales that Sasquatch can look through the eyes of crows, through the eyes of eagles, through the eyes of hawks. So on Brenda's property, I mean, just about any kind of encounter in her episode coming up in season 3, from UFOs to Sasquatch to Dogman to maybe even a little person, she has had all of these types of encounters on her property. I want to say hi to some of the folks tuning in. Ed Rock, his real name is Ed Whalen. I met him at the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival. Here's some of his renderings of the Sasquatch he's seen. What's so neat about his Sasquatch is they purposely have the hair go down over their faces. So when he saw it, you got a profile view there, and then the front up view is these Sasquatch. That hair is grown all over their faces. So
It looks
Ed,
like me in middle school. Sorry.
oh, that's funny. So Ed Whalen says Merry Christmas to everyone. So Merry Christmas, Ed Whalen. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, everybody, Donna Copus, who's going to have an episode in season 3 real quick. Donna Copus, Shawnee Indian matriarch of the, I got to get this right, the Wolf and the Raven clan down there in southeastern Ohio. Multiple lifelong Sasquatch encounters. Her episode is coming up in season 3. She's tuning in right now. Cindy Sapp, hey, what's going on? So they're talking back and forth. Jerry Lentz is watching. Jerry Lentz is an orb guy. He's had the Sasquatch activity. In fact, I just released a quick little episode of his recently. So Jerry Lentz is watching. And Donna Copus says, Kia. Oh, Brenda, you might want to talk to Donna. She says, Kia Kayaki the Hawk. I'm not sure what that means. But Donna Copus is tuning in as well.
Yeah, I feel like they're keeping tabs on me through the hawk.
Gotcha.
I call them. I've been stalked by the hawks, but I don't think it's the hawks.
Okay.
I think that it's the forest people are keeping an eye on me.
Gotcha. All right,
Sometimes
Matthew
from
Sexton
the
is
hawks.
watching. Okay, Brenda, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Matthew Sexton is watching. Check out Matthew, the River Walkers season 2. I believe it's episode, oh my goodness, episode 10 is the River Walkers season 2. Matthew Sexton, he's walked into a portal, multiple Sasquatch. Oh man, so much with Matthew. And then Brian Russell. Brian, I've been out once or twice with Brian. We have to get back. Saginaw Bay area, multiple Sasquatch encounters along with Giles Lefebvre and that whole Saginaw Bay, Sebring, Union City, so up on the coast, Caseville, so multiple Sasquatch sightings there. All right, we're now moving on. Come on, Sherry Redu. I already know what you're going to say, but hey, Haley's on here. Refresh kind of what happened to you about Naboo.
Well,
About, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sherry. Sorry.
okay, that's fine. No, that's fine. Well, with Naboo, he actually, I think, is very interdimensional. I have witnessed presence from, I think, his descendant, probably family, that were camouflaging, and it does look like I hate to say it, but it kind of looks like the Predators. We've ever saw the movie, kind of like that, where it looks like heat waves almost. But I did have encounters at on Lake Michigan, walking the beach, and been told to not pass a certain point.
How were you asked not to pass it?
Mind speak.
Okay.
Exactly.
So when and the presence was very the energy was very intense. So when that had happened, I started realizing that things were going on here is way beyond just physical state. Because when I first had my encounter, which wasn't that long ago, the first time that Naboo showed up at my house, he actually was inside it. He came in, and I didn't, being so new to the whole concept of Bigfoot. Like I said, I knew nothing about these creatures. I knew nothing about them. I never gave them a second thought. It was so new to me. And so when he came inside, it was the stench that was so awful that it woke me up basically out of sleep. And I mean, I had my dog next to me, and she was also looking like, what is going on here? So I had mind spoke to him and said, if you're here, you're scaring me, so please, please leave. And he did. But after that, we kind of had a back-to-back, kind of these incidences or mind speak interventions, I would call it. And I finally asked him what his name was, and he told me Naboo. And I thought, well, that's kind of an interesting name. And so I looked it up, and come to find out that it had meant guardian, which is what he had originally had told me. His name, his purpose was that at the moment of the encounter was that I am the guardian. And I at that point I was like, well, I don't know why I'm hearing this, and I was running away. So it was just kind of odd to me. But honestly, if he can travel 42 miles from one point to another, that's a pretty far distance to be able to track it versus just going up, and picking a point and finally, revealing himself. So I've seen this before, and I've had this incident before with him. So it's been kind of an interesting journey for me because it's all new to me. I don't know how to explain it. The mind speak was probably the most ironic to me. to be able to hear that clear voice and that clear message. It's not of a grumbly voice that you would think they have. They actually, when they speak, when mine speak, it's very clear. It's very,
Do
and
you
they,
feel it inside your head, or do you feel like your eardrums are actually shaking, but sound waves aren't doing it from the outside?
it's around you.
Okay.
Well
So,
said.
yeah, it's around you. It's not in your head. I mean, I don't know any other way to describe mind speak other than you hear it. It's very clear and very intentional.
Yeah. Haley, when I heard it I was walking out of the back, my mind speak experience, same thing. It's like all around you. I spun around. I had the garbage over my shoulder, and when I heard it, I spun around. And when I heard it, it was very clear, though I could say it sounded like a Native American tone. I heard thanks for friendship,
Yeah.
scout, and forest people. But it was very clear. And then Sherry, we could talk all day about the full message because I've thought about your encounter. Naboo did not have to show himself to you, but some reason he wanted to, even though it scared you. It's like he wanted to get a message to you. And I think one of the things we came to the conclusion is think of these Sasquatch or Bigfoot. Well, I've been corrected with the mind speak that they want to be referred to as forest people. They have a story to tell, and just like us, how we all want to talk about our life stories, they want to share their life stories as well, as long as it's the right individual. They don't want their kids being shot. So yeah, it's such a big scope of things. Hey, Jerry Lentz, I wanted to chime in real quick. Jerry Lentz just had another orb encounter on his property, opening day. So I'm gonna have to talk to Jerry more about that. Donna Copus is chiming in. She says, "My watchers are my protector and guardian of the people, and I communicate by mind speaking." So there you go, Donna Copus. Frank Middleton says on the YouTube, "I believe they are flesh and blood, but I believe the fallen angels may have entered into them at times and do things." That's not real clear. Okay, I know it sounds crazy, just trying to learn. I'm a BFRO investigator, staying open-minded. I think just to clarify, if I can for you, that is the Genesis 6 biblical narrative about when the 200 original angels came down and defected from heaven. They got it on with earthly women. It also goes on to say in the book of Enoch, in the book of Giants specifically, that these fallen angels, after they copulated with earthly women, they also copulated, once they learned they could procreate, also copulated with just a ton of different animals. And then possibly, hey, maybe that's how I got my fairy sighting. The fairy I saw was a mixture. It had the alien gray eyes. It was also combined with like a Tinkerbell, Peter Pan type but a mini human, and then maybe combined with a bug as well. So there are a lot of different cryptids out there that we don't know a whole lot about. Donna Copus says, "Hello, Selena." Selena Garrett, I'm going to get you on the show. Selena Garrett is going to be one of my upcoming investigators or eyewitnesses on my podcast show. I have missed her a couple of times, but I want to get her on the show. All right. So Haley, I'm just seeing your message now. I hope that has gotten rectified.
Yeah, I think I'm not on YouTube watching it. I'm on the StreamYard.
Okay, gotcha. Hey there, guys. Marcella A. Stillman says, "Hey there, guys. Good to see you all." She says, "Hello, Derek Grimm." Says, "Hi, Bear Claw." She's saying hi. Man, a lot of people on tonight. Mud Sniper. Okay, so let's touch on this, and then we're going to talk to Audrey Gallus. Mud Sniper, when you see a dog man, there are a lot of times you see orbs as well. Oh, Jason Finch is on here. Welcome to the Bigfoots of America podcast show. Oh, thank you very much. Let's talk about Dogman really quick. I just got done today. Very famous sighting. It's on some of the major, like the confessionals. I think a couple other podcast shows. We're talking about Filer, Michigan sighting incident. So now we're going total conspiracy, everybody, and then we're going to talk to Audrey Gallus. Truck driver had a dogman running next to his truck. Huge dogman, 10 feet tall,
I saw
lion's
that
mane.
interview.
Yes, black. That's the one you posted, right, Brenda?
No, I watched that interview about a year or so ago. Yeah,
Okay.
that was wild.
All right. So the dogman's running next to this guy's semi truck. This guy's got a gun, is very well trained, former military man, very well trained with firearms. Like, second nature, he pulls his gun, shoots this thing twice in the eye. This thing collapses. By the time he turns around to make sure this thing is dead, there are two people in a Jeep, an armed Jeep, in the vicinity going, hey, what do you want? So he takes off. Was it 7 months later? He gets called into a way station where he is interrogated by federal agents, and they tell him, and this guy's name is Joe Barger, okay? He's from Michigan. He travels, he delivers paper from Filer, Michigan down to Kalamazoo, Michigan. So he's pulled into a trucking way station, those way stations on the side, and he's held there until a couple of federal agents show up and they interrogate him. And they say to him, you killed one of our assets.
Yep.
So now, if you talk about this, we're going to make your life a living hell. All right. And they mess with his bank account a little bit. So he quiets down for about, I forget, 4 or 5 years. And now he's starting to talk about it, or started, a year or two ago. So we're a little bit, it was 2017 was the incident. So they're dogman out there, everybody. And from other than Angie
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
that was up by Luther.
Okay, Luther?
Yeah, it was near Luther. He was like traveling, what was it? 10. I think the road was called 10 or something in it. He was I think that's in the Manistee National Forest area.
Yeah,
So
Luddy.
that was not far where we were. Where we did the Marilla Trail hike, right, Sherry?
Right, exactly.
And
Yeah,
that is beautiful. Big rolling hills, all of that. So yeah, maybe we'll do another episode in the future when we have more dogman type. Boy, I think, I've got this book right here. So you got to tell me if you've got a whole book on Michigan dogman sightings, and it mainly circulates, 1897 was the first documented sighting up there in the Manistee Forest.
Yeah, I wish the dogman would
But
get the orb out of here. I don't want to
Well,
see it.
and Brian, just think
Good.
if that the dogman becomes active on the years of 7. So we're coming up to 2027. We're only a year out.
Whoa, interesting.
Yes.
That's okay. We got to talk more about that.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, we got to move on to Audrey Gallus. Here's what I love about Audrey Gallus's sighting is I'm not going to tell too much. She can do another quick run through. But Audrey Gallus to me is, hey man, these things are family clans. She ran into what she called an adolescent type Bigfoot. So Audrey, how you doing today? Merry Christmas. Good to have you on the show.
Merry Christmas. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, definitely. If you let me, we're going up to Rennie Lake and we're gonna film an episode. If you let me,
Yeah, I would like to get that on the calendar this next spring, maybe.
fantastic. All right,
Yeah, that would
Audrey,
be
go
awesome.
ahead. Go ahead and give us a little bit of lowdown on what happened to you, because I think it's so important. It's an exclamation point that these things are families and they have young ones and all of that. I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was out probably like between 7:30, 8 a.m. one morning on a trail. It was a big loop. It was about 6 miles in total. Beautiful morning. It was like I think it was June 23rd of 23. And it was a gorgeous morning. I was out for a morning hike. I'm walking around. I had crossed paths with Nick, maybe one or two people early on, but wasn't a whole lot of people out there. And it was a protected area. It was a protected area. I've mentioned the location before, so I guess there's no harm in me mentioning it again, but it's called the Brown Bridge Trail out there. And anyways, I had just passed the midpoint, so I was starting to loop back around to where I had parked, and I'm thinking I'm the only being around, the only person. It's really quiet, like I'm the only one there. And I hear, I'm looking to my left, and I hear the sound of like a twig breaking to my right or something like that. You know, it happened really fast, but it just caught my attention, and I whipped my head around to see what it was because, like I said, I thought I was the only person around. And I turned my head around fast enough just to see something that was all black from head to toe, fingertip to fingertip, like just completely very dark brown or black. I saw it rise up from a crouched position and turn around and disappear into the forest behind it. And it was a very quick experience. It was completely silent except for the original sound of the twig breaking, which I think is like astounding to me. And the silence of it and the speed at which it got away is like still something that I just can't quite wrap my head around. And it disappeared. I hung around. I was very, very curious, and I was thinking, you know, I'm trying to see it again. I'm thinking if I keep looking back into the forest that I'm going to see movement or something along those lines. I never did. I started walking. I hung around for maybe like 10 minutes, and I started walking back to my car the same way that I was already headed. And I heard a series of tree knocks, but it wasn't the rapid tree knocks that you usually hear, you know, that I've heard on interviews and recordings and like on TV and stuff like that. It wasn't rapid. It was I'm sorry, it wasn't slow. It wasn't slow like the ones where you hear like knock, knock, knock. This was more like knock, 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 knock. Like, and it was like three or four, but you could tell there was a lot of strength behind it, kind of reverberated. And all I could think was, well, first of all, I didn't mention that the being that I saw was not that much bigger than me, which is why I have deduced that it was most likely an adolescent. I, you know, obviously can't say that for sure, but it's a logical explanation for me. It was not the hulking presence that we hear about in regards to, you know, these alpha males. So I think it was probably an adolescent, and being that it was an adolescent and that I heard these tree knocks as I was walking away, made me think that you know, obvious that there's most likely there's going to be more where that one is, and if it was an adolescent, then you know, elders. So so yeah, I walked back. Nothing else happened after that. My experience was very quick, but there are certain characteristics of it that I just can't explain any other way, you know, and it's just burned in my brain. It is completely and totally burned in my brain. So that was
No,
my
I get that.
experience.
Now, with that said, and I know you know Bob Daigle. If you know Bob Daigle is one of the biggest names of Bigfoot here in Michigan. And Audrey, you've had a lot of time to think about
Yes.
this subject in a broader scope. So you've had your individual sighting and encounter in a broader scope.
Mhm.
What are your general thoughts on Sasquatch and all of that?
Well, so there weren't any sort of, you know, interdimensional or supernatural aspects to my experience, but I have, you know,
Oh, I think we just lost her. She'll be back in a second. She dropped out once before, so I'm sure she'll be right back in. We'll catch up. Oh, whoa, everybody. Okay, here comes Audrey. We'll bring her back in. But Donna Copus just said this. Everybody listen to this. Audrey, we'll talk to you in a second. Donna Copus just said every 7 years, the gates have to be closed. I don't know what that means, but Sherry, that has to do with what you
Yeah,
said. All right, go ahead,
yeah.
Audrey. Let's pick up where you just said. So no
Okay, so
interdimensional type aspects to your encounter.
not my experience, but I do hear, these commonalities and people you hear. I've listened to so much different reporting and read the books, and just like from all these different sources, you start hearing commonalities to people's experiences. And I do believe that we live in a supernatural world, a supernatural universe, and there's so much that's unknown and mysterious. And so I don't have my doubts, and I know that there are acknowledged animals that have capabilities that humans don't have. So I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say that that these creatures can also have capabilities that we don't have. I don't think humans can move through the forest as quietly and as quickly as they can, and so who knows? Like for me, it's just like the big unknown. Like there's explanations that you can conjure up that may be true, but like how many explanations are there that we've never even thought of? So it's just so
Right.
hard to say one way or the other. But some of the things that I've heard already tonight that I'm ring true that I've heard in other places, like the footprints just up and disappearing. Like you'll have a trail of footprints and all of a sudden they end.
Yep.
And it's real hard to come up with like known explanations for that. And I was thinking about Brenda, when you were talking about the hawks and watching it through the hawks. There's a man. I haven't really been following him lately, but I know like maybe 5 to 10 years ago, I don't know if he's still talking about this or not, but I think his name is Mike Cleland, and he would talk about all these UFO and alien experiences that he would have, that where there was always an owl present. There was always an owl that showed up in some way, shape, or form that was tied into it. And then he started talking about that experience, and then all these other people started telling him their experiences with the same, that it's like the like just somehow an owl gets tied into it. And then I've heard I've also heard about the faces and the orbs, and I remember years ago there was a photographer that captured it and would do the like zoom in, and you could see the different faces. And I think that this was more along the lines of spiritual, but like when you go back, it's it's all the same thing. But so there's that. And it's and I was thinking about Survivor Man. He didn't say it at the time when he was filming his show, but he came out later and said that he had an experience when he was out in the woods where he experienced what he called mind speak. And then there was a whole separate thing on him too, where they released, I think this was just like last year, one of his videos. I think he was somewhere in Eastern Europe. I forget which country it was, but he had an experience where he like slid. He almost fell off this cliff. And there is just a few frames of this recording where what looks to be a Sasquatch steps out, like as if he's watching this guy just about go over the side of the cliff, where he steps out from back behind this rock face and then he steps back in. That's available on the internet. You can find that pretty easy if you look it up. Oh, and there was one other thing that I thought about too, as you guys were talking before you came along to me, is there was this video I watched, and I'm sure it's still there on YouTube, about this lady. I remember her first name was either Anne or Anna, and she is like she communicates with animals, and she had this incredible experience with the Black Panther that had been named Diablo, and it hated its name because of the negative connotation. But it was so incredible, that whole video. Like, and when you start thinking about it, was very, very compelling. That whole story, for me, it was very compelling. There were other people involved that weren't animal communicators at all, that had experiences. And when you start, hearing these kinds of things over and over again, you just realize that, there's just a lot more going on out there than what meets the eye. So that's my thoughts on the whole subject.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I know the new film released by David Pilates. If you're out there,
Oh yeah.
one of the American Sasquatch. But here's, I've had these epiphany moments, that have taken me in my personal journey. But this is one of the books that, if you want more evidence, so to speak, it's David Pilates' Bigfoot, Wild Men, and Giants. Get this book, and it is historical documentation of, they didn't always call Bigfoot Bigfoot. So there are encounters going back to the frontier days, references of wild men or hairy men. So this is another book that I highly recommend. But
Could you spell his last name?
Yeah, it's P-A-U, so Paul, P-A-U-L-I-D-E-S. And David Pilates, or however you say it, is a former, police detective?
Okay.
And
Yes.
But one of his encounters, and I think I've heard through the grapevine in the American Sasquatch film he just released, is actual eyewitness of seeing Bigfoot hopping out of a UFO coming down, Bigfoot hopping out, and basically waving goodbye to the UFO. Very, there's a lot of things we don't understand fully yet.
I saw in one of David Pilates' earlier documentaries, I forget which one it is, but he has a report from a lady who was hunting up in a tree. She was in one of those tree stands, and it happened to be not far from, it was like small town USA somewhere. This is the best of my recollection. There was a high school football stadium not far away. And it was like Friday night, and the football game's going on. You have a stadium full of people. She's not far away from there in this tree stand. And I think she had an old cell phone. Okay. And she just happened to be the wife of some very well-known scientist that studies optics. Okay. And I think if I could remember his name, a lot of people would recognize it. But anyway, she has an experience in that tree stand where she sees something, and this is what made me want to bring it up, is because somebody already mentioned this tonight, something akin to the Predator. And it's like that clear, like heat waves. Like the way I describe it is like you're looking through saran wrap, like you can see what's on the other side, but it's distorted to a certain extent.
Cloaking.
She saw something moving around in the trees like that she called a predator. And as it turned out, she tried to get her flip phone out, and she took some pictures. Obviously that's not the camera of choice, and she took it home to her husband. And I don't remember the whole story about what happened with the photos that she caught, but what's really interesting is that at that same time, that same night, over in the football stand, they had like a mass UFO sighting. So that's in one of David Pilates' earlier documentaries, not the one that just came out.
Interesting. Season 3 coming up. One of my eyewitnesses, Chad Skolton from the Alpena. You probably remember a couple of months ago, I was up in the Alpena area in the backwaters of the Thunder Bay area. And what's so neat about Chad Skolton is it's either Skolton or Sholton. Is he has had about, I think it's 8 encounters. He's got multiple tree stands set out in his property. Well, first of all, where they moved into is like this cabin on the water, and it had been vacant for about 10 years. Well, when they first moved in there, they kept having growls and tappings on their home and all that, and they wondered what the heck was going on. Well, Chad ended up having, I think, 8 encounters of a jellyfish type cloak Bigfoot walking through. So his particular sighting it's a little more blurred. It's a little more, or even physical, you could say. So if you were to see a jellyfish, it's like that type of texture or that type of cloaking would walk through. And I'm going to tell you, when I spent the night there, I said, well, usually when I don't know, Sherry Redu. If these things know you're coming before you come, there is some kind of connection, because yes, when I stayed in his outbuilding overnight, yeah, some stuff was banging on my cabin. So I'm like, what's going on? How do they possibly know you're going to be somewhere before you're there? Like the footprints I found today, I could see where the footprints I found today, where they stayed on the grass, but then when I found them, they couldn't stay on the grass any longer, and in that video that I released today, I think I said a couple of days old. Actually, they could have been up to 2 weeks old if we think about the snowfall and all of that, and then the melting and then the refall. So they could have been up to 2 weeks old. So I just wanted to clarify that. Man, everybody, you have been wonderful. Oh, the Cryptid podcast is chiming in. They say, hello to everyone. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Brian.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
Did you ever review that footage of you and Chad on the pontoon going up the river?
I have
Or coming
not.
back, I should say.
Well, I'm about to get it. I want to enjoy my holidays. Y'all know how busy I've been.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got a March 2nd deadline. I'm doing as soon as Christmas and New Year's is over. I have a whole string of editing to do, and I'll be going through all that footage. I'll be up day and night. So no, we're going to check that out, Brenda. The Cryptid podcast also says they had a guest from Iowa have a dog man came out of a ditch and ran along the side of her minivan looking in the passenger window. She said it had the head of a hyena. Oh, I'm writing that one down. So we got a dog man that looked like a hyena. That was in Iowa. So that's out by Derek and Kevin's area.
Dogman seems so much more terrifying than a Bigfoot.
I agree.
Oh, everybody agrees with that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic.
Hey,
Go
Brian,
ahead.
you know what we should do on the 7th year?
What?
We should do a live podcast here in Traverse City. There's a gateway. There's a gateway been witnessed at the
Holy crap,
cemetery.
Benjamin Netanyahu sounds like he's threatening every West.
What?
Sorry about that.
Well, give me a date, because look, Greg Ogles, if you check out one of the episodes, I don't know if I've released it yet, but Greg Ogles, The Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky, he walks up on a portal. And so think of a flat screen TV hovering like a doorway. So think of a flat screen TV, but rectangle up like a doorway. He walks up on it. The one side looks like a doorway. He can walk right into it, but he goes like this and looks around the back, and there's nothing there. It's black. And then gradually it dissipated. So you got weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think you released that one. I watched that one.
Oh, good. Greg
I
Ogles,
watched all of them.
Fantastic. Yeah, we've had a wonderful run here, and all of you have been a blessing. And when I started this, I wanted to kind of grow a community. When Kevin True first got on, and Derek Grimm, they've been with me from the beginning. I wanted to just kind of create a peaceful atmosphere. I know there's been a lot of conflict. It really was, some of the conflict in the Bigfoot world has been whether they're Gigantopithecus or whether there's something more. So that's been a lot of controversy, and I think we've meshed everything quite well along the way. Hey, everybody, we're going to go around the horn again. We're already at 1 hour and 19 minutes. We're going to go around the horn, and everybody's going to give out, if you want to give out where people can follow you at on Facebook or whatever, any kind of contact information, you can do that now. So we'll go ahead and start with Kevin True, the Porcupine Bigfoots, man. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, this has been good. I've been enjoying all your guys' stories. You can find me on Facebook, Kevin True, Treu, and I have the picture of the B.O.A black hat, the first edition. And if you click on my profile, you can actually see the picture and the video of the picture of me catching that youth carrying that live porcupine. Only due to the fact that I've got a lot of haters and doubters that call me out on it. So I just say, you know what? Feel free to go to my profile, check it out. It's all there. My proof is in the making. So anybody that wants to just basically see the porcupine, and like I said, if I ever make it to the town hall, I've got a big, huge poster board picture of it. I've actually filmed on it. But I've also come to learn that when you have certain pictures due to pixels and everything like that, I grab a phone, you grab a G5, high-tech phone, and you put it up to that poster, it'll actually have a face detection on it.
Ooh.
So that actually freaked me out. I was doing some cleaning and I stuck this particular poster, the picture, out in the sun, and I could see even more detail in that picture. So I ended up sticking my phone up to it, and it wanted to pick up face detection where the mother stood. So I said, you know what? Feel free to just get on my profile, and you can see that the picture and everything that I have on there.
Yep. Yeah, definitely get to Kevin's profile. Kevin, I also love the write-up about you. You got pictures there. Like I say to you, and I always reaffirm it, is, hey, man, you got more evidence than most. And there's no doubt. I'm 100% sold on your encounter, and you're one of the guys that helped get me started. And so nothing but love to you, my friend. So moving on, Derek Grimm, my
Appreciate
man.
it. Thank you. And I got
Oh,
more
you're
stories to
welcome,
tell you,
Kevin.
Brian. I got a lot more stories to tell you that it'll freak you out. And I've got proof and videos on that too. I'll have to send them to you.
Okay, well, save it. We're going to do another podcast episode. How's that?
Sounds good, my friend.
All right, cool. Derek Grimm, man, where can people follow you, get a hold of you, whatever?
Likewise, just like on Facebook, my information's there. You can private message me. I encourage that to anybody who has a problem or has a sighting or have something they want to talk about. I want to also say that we lost a great Bigfoot kind of person here in September, Jeff Meldrum, Dr. Jeff Meldrum. He also just all of a sudden got brain cancer and died. There's a lot of great Bigfoot people who have done the research and they're just gone. They're like gone before you know it. Besides that, hey, everyone have a Merry Christmas. It's good seeing y'all. Nice meeting the ones I haven't met. And Brenda and Sherry, back to your things about, there's a time where, like, I was in the mountains and I did follow the prints. I did capture him on film. I did get by the fire at the end of the day, and I did have an open bag of like Doritos, man, if I do remember correctly. And that was like on the backside of the log, and I was getting warm. And I know what I heard. I heard my whole bag of potato chips go crunch, and I'm like,
Wow.
I was like so afraid just to turn around after all the stuff I've seen that day. And I was just like, oh God, I just got to get it over with. And I turned and chips were there, but nothing squashed them. And then back to Brenda's thing about, oh heck, what was it? It was about the Hawkeye and stuff. Very credible. I think I'm like one with the Raven for some reason. When I'm out, if I go on a road travel, it doesn't matter where, how long, how short. If I see a raven, I don't have to worry about anything. I think I could probably drive with my eyes closed, but I'm not going to test that. But yeah.
Awesome. Real quick, I want to chime in from two of our watchers. Brian Russell says he fully agrees that they always at least move in pairs. Donna Copus says she sees orbs before the watchers appear. Now, Donna Copus refers to Sasquatch or Bigfoot. They told her that they are the watchers. So she says that orbs always appear before the watchers appear. All right. Haley Benedict, where can people get a hold of you or follow you? Facebook, whatever?
Yep, I am on Facebook at Haley Benedict Heslip, and same thing on Instagram. It's HALEY BENEDICT, like the Pope, and Heslip HESLIP.
Very cool. And then we got a ton of stuff to do in 2026, Haley.
I'm so excited.
I want to get
you don't even know. You don't even know.
You have the most amazing location in your backyard. It's the Susan Moore location where Susan has seen pterodactyls, dogmen. Oh, no, the dogmen were north of that, but the Sasquatch, that was one of the recent live videos we did where the clan of Sasquatch were throwing the rocks. It was really neat because we weren't being chased out of there. It seemed like every time we were moving away, the Sasquatch would throw big rocks into the river. So that's a location I want to take you to. It's a secret location. We got to keep that on the down low, but we're going there. So keep that in mind. Lots coming up in 2026. Brenda Goodwin, switching to you now. Oh my gosh, we're coming back out to your place too. I want to do an overnight. So much activity.
Yeah, you could camp out by the hayfield in the middle of the block if you want. There's old fire ring back there too where I used to camp.
because not only the Sasquatch encounters, the UFO and that little person is what keeps sticking with me. The little creature, was that a young dog man or was that what do they call the pug? I don't have my book. Where is it? The George Lunsford book.
Like
Pugwagees or something?
Yeah, my mom saw what she saw, the dog man. This was back in the late 80s. And then what I saw was it had to have been about maybe 2017 or 2018. And I didn't get the idea that it was a dog man or anything. I couldn't say what it was, but I don't think it was. I don't think that's what it was. But
all right. Well, I've been scrambling to get this picture.
Oh my goodness!
It's called a pugwagee. This is a little type creature.
Oh, it's got a bare face.
So there are other, what'd you say, Haley? Monsters of the World reference guide by George Lunsford. You can buy it on Amazon. What'd you say, Haley?
LUNS, hang on. Because I was trying to write that down, but I didn't get it. LUNSFORD?
Yep, George Lunsford.
LUNSFORD.
Yeah, I bought this Amazon. But yeah, quick reference guide. It's wonderful. But that is, so Brenda, I was like, okay, is that a pugwagee? 2 to 3 feet tall, can appear and disappear at will, were once friendly to humans. See, there's another interesting narrative. You know, I talked to Rick Taylor. He's been on Flash of Beauty. I had his interview this past week, and it's funny because he had communication with the Sasquatch. Now, here's a Native American link where he had spoken to one, and he had used the term Gaduste, which means what's your name? And the Bigfoot said back to him, Glah. And Glah means no, I'm not going to tell you my name. So there are so we talk about alien connection, we talk about the Native American connection. Regardless of whatever it is, here's what I've got to say. It is an ancient connection, and we're just now starting to catch up with all this information, the ancient Indian tales and folklore. This was all going on way before we came along, but we're just trying to piece things together. So, Brenda Goodwin, they can follow you where? Facebook, get a hold of you, whatever?
Yeah, Facebook or in the private Bigfoot of Michigan's group.
Okay, that's right. We've got We've got my personal profile page, Bryan Sawyer, but we also have the private group. If you're trying to get into, be a member of the private group, which is Bigfoots of Michigan and the Bigfoots of America podcast show, you do need to answer the questions and have a profile picture and all that. Those are just safeguards. So, yeah, get in there. Brenda is a moderator as long or just as much as Sherry Redu is a moderator. So, Sherry, go ahead with your contact information or where they can follow you at.
Yes, and same here, where they can contact me through the Bigfoots of Michigan FB page, the private group, as well as my personal Facebook page, which is Sherry, Cheri, Radu, Radu. And you can certainly message me as well.
Awesome. I'm trying to pull one up here. Hold on a second. We have a comment from Marion Lynn Bat says, hello from East Tennessee. Hello, Marion. Thanks for tuning in. We got people from all over the place. Okay.
Cool.
Encrypted podcasts. Okay. Trying to see if I'm caught up. Looking through all this. Oh, on the Cryptid Podcast, they say they also had a Class B. Oh, where's this at? In Boone, Michigan. I can't remember what we talked about before. Class B. What is a Class B?
Yeah.
UFO sighting? I have so much to learn.
I have no clue.
So it's got to be a different level. Like you have a sighting.
The
Okay.
DFRO, they have classes, the Class A, Class B, Class C, and like generally Class A is a first-hand witness account. Generally, a Class B is a second-hand account. So yeah,
Oh,
it's just
encounters.
different. Yes.
Awesome. Well, good show,
Hey,
everyone.
that's just 2
Thanks
counties north of me. Sorry.
for what? No, go
That's
ahead.
only 2 counties north of me. We can go.
Ooh. Well, then out by
There's
you,
that.
Haley. So I've got multiple pterodactyl sightings out by you. Christine Lee, Susan Moore, and then we've got the so-called Bigfoot Triangle, multiple UFO sightings coming out of Lake Michigan. We have so much material to do. I always say this, I was hoping to have 2 seasons. It's dripping over. I can't keep up with it. But all of you are all my favorite team members, and I appreciate all of you and all that you've done. And yes, there's other people I would have liked to have on the show tonight, but we just weren't able to fit them all in. All right, everybody, I'm going to kick you out of the main room into the green room. Please stay in the green room until I get there. I'm going to close out the show, and I'll see you in a minute.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right, I'm just getting everybody out of here into the green room. All right, everybody, at home, if you've been tuning in, Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching the Bigfoots of America podcast show, Bigfoot Live Friday night, the Christmas special. Yeah, I would have loved to have more people on, but the guests we had on, what can I say? I mean, it does. It takes a whole town. It takes a community. No man's an island. We can't begin to learn about this subject unless multiple people come together and all these different points of view get poured into the big pot of stew. So that's what we're trying to do here at Bigfoots of Michigan. The more the merrier. Please chime in. Please keep watching the show. We appreciate everyone out there, and we just pray that you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.